Hello, hello, and welcome to ohmTown Daily News Show, the news show that's powered by ohmTown.com. Go over there and become a citizen, because all roads lead to ohmTown, and then from ohmTown's main street, you can reach all destinations internet. I am Merwat, and, well, that whole column there is the visualizer for the sentient AI from the future.
Good evening, ohmTown citizens. Welcome to ohmTown Daily.
And today is June 11th, 2024. It's Season 3, Episode 163 of ODNS. Today we're going to talk about the following 10 articles. These headlines are created by moi, Mayor Watt. I have the exclusive right to name any article whatever I want for the show. Executive privilege, I say. So anyway, better to not lower your boiling point in Arizona as of late. Secret Ex Parte. I never partay at all, Judge. Neither robot nor lawyer, so settles the lawsuit. There is always money in the banana finance terror group. Shkreli, I was going to say Shkreli, screwed by Wu-Tang Clan, but they're just sued. United rolls out targeted advertisements. I wish they'd target lower prices and better service and on-time destinations. And ghost towns of the Old West, a Veggie Piranha-like species, which I didn't read a single thing about yet. Water frost on Martian volcanoes, so our Martian potatoes are going to be easier to water. And you can't turducken your Apple devices? What the? Yeah, so hello. We're on the other side of that intro. We got all 10 of our articles all lined up.
Are we ready to go?
I think we're ready to go. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go. Are you ready to go?
Oh no. Oh no, we're in a loop. A temporal loop? Is it a temporal loop? Or is it a programmatic loop? Yeah, you're stuck in, and therefore I'm stuck in it, since you're the one that's in charge of the timeline? I don't know how this works.
I have no idea.
So, like the title has, all of the commands that you can issue with exclamation points. That way you can see what is going on. Sorry, 1 second. Doot. Oh, okay. Yeah. The interface says that we were offline, but we're actually online, and everything's fine. Anyway, you get if you follow us here on Twitch and over on YouTube, you get notified when we go live. The statement that goes along with it is essentially here's the show you're about to watch, and the episode and the day and all of the commands that are functional. So if you hit exclamation point ODNS in the chat right now, I'll do it for you. It'll pull up all of the URLs for the articles that we're going to be talking about. And because ohmTown is kind of haphazardly drunk, it seemingly just throws them in whatever order it damn well pleases. I think the sentient AI from the future needs to have a talk with the non-sentient AI that powers ohmTown.com and the bot.
I'll get on that, but I also think maybe we need to take our cues from ohmTown.
Just throw them however. Okay, let's do that.
Well, no, I mean mix up the order.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So the first article, no, I can't do it. It hurts my brain. I'm human. So the first article that we're going to talk about today is over in... oh no, what's going on? Why is this taking so long? Oh no. I wonder if ARC has a memory leak. Anyway, first article's over in ohmTown Daily. Arizonans advised to avoid alcohol, caffeine, and blistering heat, or amid blistering heat. An excess heat warning is in place for parts of southern and central Arizona later this week.
Do you
And
recall ever seeing that as like a state or country level warning?
a state level warning. Um, I've heard, yeah, I mean, I've heard people being told don't stay out of the sun, but I've never heard, I don't think, avoid alcoholic caffeinated beverages for the next few days as dangerous hot conditions are expected to scorch some counties. The National
Yeah,
Weather
that's why
Service.
it stands out.
Yeah, it's that one's kind of interesting, but that's why I titled this "Better Not Lower Your Boiling Point in Arizona." So if you drink caffeinated beverages or alcohol, it dehydrates you. It doesn't really lower your boiling point, but I thought it was funnier to mention boiling point. So, yeah, the National Weather Service has issued an excessive heat warning for parts of central and southern Arizona from 10 a.m. Tuesday to 8 p.m. on Thursday MST. According to a forecast briefing, temperatures are expected to reach from 105 to 112 during the warning period. I should call it a warming period. Yeah, you don't have to worry about that red line. Nobody sees it but you. So, look, when are we going to get over this idea that climate change...
That we don't have climate change?
Yeah. I don't know. Probably when it starts hitting people like more directly, like the wingnuts that deny it. Then they're going to be
Well,
like
when it's Alaska and it's like excessive heat warning or something, right?
even then, I don't think that they'll care. So like I've had this conversation before, right? And so just to get out in front of this, right? I've donated to causes. The mayoral mansion has donated to causes prior to becoming hit by these causes. Why? Because nobody here is a sociopath and thinks that, hey, it doesn't exist until it touches us personally. And so, I would never do that. I would never sit there and suddenly start cheerleading. Some people do. And fine, that's great. It's wonderful. That's fine. I acknowledge that, right? And I'm not necessarily calling everybody a sociopath that does that. But what I am saying is that there are people out there that are sociopaths that are sitting there saying climate change is bullshit, and thus we shouldn't care about it. Let's drive this truck into the ground and then just trade it because, we can go and find another frickin' planet. Well, climate change exists. So let's do something about it. Let's be the change we want to see in the world. But that's not how a lot of the wingnuts proposed the solution should be manifest. Let's use all of the oil and ruin all of the water and barren earth
Let's
all
ruin
of the ground.
air and yeah, exactly.
And I got mine. Screw everybody else. And well, and if you mention kids, please. We know that, somebody's eating them, but it's not the wingnuts. Oh, whatever. Yeah, idiots. Anyway, climate change, it exists. Just because it rains horrendously in one region of the country doesn't mean that it's suddenly over and there's global cooling. Yet that's what they hinge everything on. One article way back that was already debunked as fraudulent about global cooling because there was a sudden downtrend in cooling that was debunked by historical record. Yet that's what everybody...
don't confuse people with the facts.
Right. Yeah. So, like this says, and the only reason why I'm even including this in here is because of all of the other contextual data that goes with this. Arizonans are being advised to avoid alcohol and caffeine among blistering heat, completely ignoring the rest of this, right? They're talking about forecasting, and then at some point you would think that maybe it talks about climate change or something, but the article is completely devoid of it, if I'm not mistaken. Does it say anything about climate change and anthropomorphic causation?
I don't
No.
think so. It just says that there's been a lot of heat warnings, so it doesn't appear to tie it, which is interesting because a lot of the articles do have a blurb about climate change.
Right. But not when it comes to Arizona. It's the Wyoming of the West. The next article is over in...
Wyoming is in the West.
I'm sorry?
Wyoming is in the West.
Damn it. Of the further west. Anyway, it's the Wyoming of next to California.
That sounds like Fallout, the further west.
There you go, yeah. And it's much like Fallout. So the next article is over in the Law Nerd channel. Judge punishes attorney for knowing about secret ex parte with witness, and that doesn't mean they had a party with their ex. So let's just go on over to the source of this. Above the Law is the source. Chris Williams is the author of this at abovethelaw.com. Free YSL Steel till it's backwards? I'm not sure what that is. That's the deck statement.
Yeah, I don't either. I haven't been following this particular trial.
It's a RICO trial. So, okay, throughout the YSL RICO trial, with regard to holding folks in contempt of court, there was that time where he ordered a juror to write a 30-page essay, not to mention the strip club chicken incident. This is the same place? Are you kidding me?
Apparently it's the same trial and same judge.
This is bananas.
Same trial.
This is bananas. This is seriously bananas. One of the glaring questions that should have been answered after Judge Glanville held Brian Steele in contempt for not... Oh, that's what that is up there.
Hopefully
YSL
not
Steel.
terror financing bananas.
No. Don't... Oh, wow, you dove into that one. Oh, no. That's an article that we're going to talk about.
Well, you said bananas. I thought you were alluding to that one.
Oh, no. Doggone it. Okay, well, I mean, you didn't really spoil anything. This is just as bananas, though. Because this is the same thing where a juror had to write a 30-page essay, and there was a strip club chicken incident. Brian Steele in contempt for not disclosing how he knew that Glanville had a private chambers conversation with a witness during a trial is why in the hell was the judge having a private chambers conversation with...
That's the bigger issue here.
Yeah. So, but it's interesting. Judge punishes attorney for knowing about secret ex parte with witness. How in the world did this...
How did you find me out? You're getting penalized.
Yeah.
Isn't that essentially what that is?
Yeah. In case you aren't familiar with judicial expectations, Glanville's error wasn't just wrong, it was textbook. So you have to read all of this stuff. I wonder if Judge Glanville's time on this, I think it's probably going to say something along the lines of, I don't know what, on the trial.
Je ne sais quoi.
Yeah. Gosh, look at what the Supreme Court of Georgia considers to be an obvious example of meritorious recusal motion in response to an oral contempt finding. Really, what needs to take place? I mean, to me, it sounds like this judge needs to be punted from this, because now it's setting out all kinds of appeals.
Well, and somebody else should have looked at this particular issue because it was involving the very judge. And that's what they're saying with the state was like, hey, this should have gone to somebody else to look at.
Yeah. These antics show that Glanville is off his game, but Thug's attorney, Brian Steele, isn't. Despite the judicial rule violations, Glanville is still the acting judge, and folks have to abide by his abuses, at least until they are called out litigiously. There are causes of action here. After doubling down on punishing Steele for not divulging how he knew the judge had an ex parte with jail time, Steele requested that he...
That was worded weirdly, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Seems like the judge has jail time as it's written.
Yeah. That is wild. Hey, you need to tell me how you found out. Not, holy shit, Yeah, so the attorney for the witness for the defense found out that the judge had a conversation with a witness outside of any observation. And when the defense attorney says, I know about this, what was said, the judge says, I'm going to throw your ass in jail unless you divulge who told you.
I want to know I'm assuming the prosecutor was part of this meeting, and but it is interesting. He asked to serve time with his client, so he gets to like strategize while he's in jail, which is
What a
they're
trip.
commending him in the end of the article.
What a trip. And it's all documented in real time, right? Somewhere. And then people report on it like abovethelaw.com. And this is the stuff that kind of fuels the fire of people losing the security of our judicial system, right?
Yeah, it loses credibility when you
It
see
loses.
articles like this, even
There
if
you go.
everybody else is acting normally.
Yeah, I wanted to avoid saying a certain phrase, which is, I think, amplifying a certain ideological bent, but credibility. The institution is losing credibility, and the people are losing the perspective that it's credible. Because there's another turn of phrase that I don't ever want to use anymore in reference to institutions. You know what? I'll just say it. There are people that are abusing the coin of phrase losing faith in our institutions because they're trying to invoke faith in our institutions. But that's not the faith they're talking about. That's not what the forefathers mentioned. That's not what anybody utilizes when that is not the envisioning of having faith in an institution. It's not about religion. It's about believing that its integrity is sound. That's what the faith is. And not having to question it, because what you are seeing, what you are going through is actually bound in ethics and morality, which is starting to get more and more questionable. Anyway, I better keep on moving. The next article is over in the Law Nerd Channel 2. Robot lawyer do not pay reaches settlement in lawsuit, alleging that it's neither robot nor lawyer.
What is it?
I think it's a bunch of scripts and a bunch of people that are all working together to provide information. Robot lawyer do not pay has agreed to settle a lawsuit alleging that the website engaged in unauthorized practice of law and provided substandard legal services in the process. Yikes. Deborah Caston's wife, which is funny because I think we talked about this over the years that this has been kind of peppering our feed. So the settlement in principle was revealed in a status update filed June 5th in the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California, according to Reuters. No details were available, but this was all reported on by the ABAjournal.com, and the author of the article is Deborah Caston's Weiss. Do Not Pay Chatbot was founded in 2015 to help people fight traffic tickets, and it's done it. It actually has worked. But it later expanded to help people with other legal matters. Its founder, Joshua Browder, is a 2017 ABA Journal legal rebel. They are not attorneys. Right? The website, Do Not Pay, is not actually a robot, a lawyer, nor a law firm. So the plaintiff, Jonathan Faridian, had alleged that he used Do Not Pay to write several legal documents, but he couldn't use some of them because they were poorly or inaccurately drafted. And that in and of itself is part. See, there's a thing where there's this whole concept of access to justice, and you can't hire an attorney to do certain things because you're talking about $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, depending on how they provide the material to the client. So it's never cheap when you have to provoke a response in layers between an attorney, a client that isn't hiring the actual attorney, but utilizing them as a consultant to fill out paperwork or provide guidance to filling out the paperwork. So you turn to something like this and you end up compromised because you're acting as your own counsel and a fool, right?
Right. Only a fool does that. I forgot the exact saying.
Yeah. So they settled, but it says no details, which I didn't know going into the article that there wasn't going to be much, but they've apparently reached a settlement. Cool. All right. Want to keep going?
Do we think we'll see more from Do Not Pay going forward?
I guarantee it, because at some point they're going to do something so beyond the pale legally that it's going to end up in it shuttering and liability being transferred to the owners, the principals of the organization, namely the creator of the site, Joshua Broder. At some point, this is actually setting the precedent for piercing the veil that goes way beyond just providing legal services, right? Unfortunately for its customers, the suit said, Do Not Pay is not actually a robot, a lawyer, nor a law firm. If it's practicing
that's
law,
kind of a problem, right?
Yep. All right, let's keep going though. The next article is over in ohmTown Daily. Banana giant found liable for financing terror group. Hence the reason why I titled this. There's always money in the banana finance terror group. A federal jury in Florida ruled that Chiquita must pay $38 million to 16 families of individuals killed by paramilitary groups the company funded for over 7 years. It's actually one group. I pluralized that, but it's one group. The article's over at Newsweek, and it's written by Jesus Mesa, and they have just bananas. And there's a video, but at least it's on target.
Yeah, but it doesn't have anything to do with this article.
Yeah, top 5 health benefits from bananas. I don't think financing a terror group is one of them, but okay.
No, I'll take bananas with a side of terror.
Yeah, so they say in what has been labeled an historic decision, and I corrected the grammar there. They say a historic decision, isn't it? An historic decision.
Mm-hmm.
The ruling, maybe it's idiomatic. The ruling holds Chiquita liable for its financial ties to the AUC, which was designated a terrorist organization by the U.S. government. So yeah, there you go. If you are giving money, and I'm willing to bet that the reason why they donate the money to this organization is to secure their access to banana plantations wherever they might be.
Right. I suspect it's not like, hey, go out and do horrible things with this, but let us get to our banana plantation or whatever, wherever they're growing them.
Yeah. And
I'm not excusing it. I think you're probably right.
Yeah. And it sets a precedent, which I think is actually a profound one, and one that everybody should pay attention to. Just because when you go to the store and you buy Chiquita bananas, you have no idea that at the surface of that onion is your transaction. And then as you peel back the layers or pull back the banana peel, you find out that your money is going to a human rights violation. That facilitates you getting that frickin' banana.
Yeah, it's one of those things that if you realize that about pretty much every food, you're going to be not buying a lot of food.
Yeah, so...
Right, I'm not saying everybody's supporting this organization, but...
Right. Yeah, see, it says in a statement, but to CNN. Okay, why to CNN? Chiquita, why not just a press release to everybody? Chiquita said it planned to appeal the jury's verdict. Quote, the situation in Colombia was tragic for so many, including those directly affected by the violence there. No shit. And our thoughts remain with them and their families. However, that does not change our belief that there is no legal basis for these claims. While we are disappointed by the decision, we remain confident that our legal position will ultimately prevail. I doubt it. Not if there is a documented donation of funds to a terrorist group that's been tagged by the United States as such. The verdict followed a 6-week trial and 2 delay of deliberations. The years-long case, originally filed in 2007, was combined with several other lawsuits. The UAC, active from the 90s until its disbandment in 2006, is blamed for the killings of 200,000 people during those years. And they agreed. Chiquita pled guilty to a U.S. criminal charge of engaging in transactions with a foreign terrorist organization and agreed to pay a $25 million fine in 2007. So,
right when this happened. So then what happened with the trial?
well, I think it's because it's the families that are being impacted by this that are coming after Chiquita.
Right.
So, yeah, they say that the Colombian regions, Uraba and Magdalena, including the brutal murders of innocent civilians, were funded by Chiquita's contributions, providing $1.7 million in illegal funding to the UAC from 1997 to 2004. So follow the money. I mean, was it because, see, they don't document here. Was it because it was...
They probably don't have a receipt from the organization, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, but were they arguing we were just doing business and the money that was going there was to secure access to the bananas? Or we have an ideological alignment with the UAC and whoever those new freedom fighters are? Because one person's freedom fighter is another person's terrorist. It depends on which side of the fence you're on.
Right, you raise a good point in that. Do they even think that this is an organization like it's labeled?
Oh, I'm sure that they didn't know. I mean, I'm sure that they knew, they were cognizant of who they were working with. You know what I'm saying? But they didn't think that it would translate directly into. But I don't know how you can't. You know, you don't go and have people working in open pit mines and then say, "Well, we were just mining." No, you knew exactly what y'all were doing. Don't be stupid. So, okay, let's keep going. Speaking of stupid, this is in Smash or Trash because it has to do with Wu-Tang Clan and the album. Martin Shkreli sued for copying and playing Wu-Tang Clan album without permission. And this is really interesting because you think, oh, it's Wu-Tang Clan that's suing, right? But that's not what it is.
No, it isn't. This is really, I looked at it and I went, what?
Yeah, so Martin Shkreli apparently liked Wu-Tang Clan enough that he bought the rights to a very specific, apparently iconic album, and then subsequently sold it. But Shkreli, apparently, it says expectedly remorseless, says that he went and transmitted it. He played it online, but doesn't have the rights to it. So Pleaser DAO, the digital art collective that owns Once Upon a Time in Shaolin, claims that the disgraced former pharmaceutical executive lacks the authority to share the album publicly. The article is actually over at Pitchfork. Matthew Strauss put the article together, and the deck statement is what I just said. But I guess this is Martin Shkreli in October of 2023 going, yeah, for me to think this way, there must be a dent in my head.
Sorry. And this is really weird. This is not a normal copyright claim. Or I assume it's copyright, but...
Well, it has to be, right?
Right.
So according to the lawsuit, Shkreli is still beholden to certain aspects of the forfeiture order, including the requirement that he takes all reasonable steps and bear all costs necessary to ensure that all substitute assets, i.e. Once Upon a Time in Shaolin, are preserved and maintained in good and marketable condition and are not damaged, diluted, or diminished in value as a result of any actions taken or not taken by the defendant and his representatives. So Shkreli, the lawsuit argues, has violated the forfeiture order by making copies of the album and playing it publicly, something he's
Okay, this
readily
is
admitted
even more
to.
convoluted, right? It's not even a straight copyright issue. It's
Right.
like he didn't follow his bankruptcy
Yeah.
proceeding
Yeah.
or if it was asset seizure. I didn't follow too much about the underlying trial.
Yeah, 7.4 million in asset forfeiture. So, and in the process of that, by making copies and playing it, diminish the value of that of Once Upon a Time in Shaolin, lowering the forfeiture value. Instead of it being at X amount, now it's lesser, and still cannot diminish the value of that asset. And every copy that you make and give to somebody does exactly that. This is theft.
This is possibly the oddest lawsuit I've ever heard about in the news. Like, it just is so many layers.
It's like a murder board, you know? You have to have a murder board back there, and the yarn is all connected, and, you know, Shkreli is the dude that's right in the center of this. It's fantastical. So, yeah. Any dissemination of the album?
Do you think it's going to get anywhere?
Well, I think that he's in violation of it. So, let's see. Take more money away from him, put him in jail again. Right? He was convicted of securities fraud.
Sure he's going to feel punished, though.
Yeah, I mean, if you spend time in the clink and you don't come out, you come out in one of two ways. Either deeper into the sociopath side, which if you have millions of dollars, then I would say that most assuredly you're deeper into the sociopath side. Or you come out humbled going, holy crap, I can't lead a life of crime because I don't want to go back into that. But if you made friends, I guess, hey. Okay, we need to keep going though. Next article is over in the Mobile channel. United is rolling out targeted in-flight ads, what to know and how to opt out. You know how you opt out? You just don't use their services. I mean, you take your flight.
Do you know, can you make anything worse about flying?
Oh, don't give them ideas. Let's not try and enumerate how to make it shittier.
But that's what this is.
At some point, the joke about having us just stand next to each other for the duration of the flight is going to become a reality.
Oh, no.
Because they can fit in an extra 5 rows. Yeah. Just...
We'll take those in-flight ads. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. You want to just stream them straight into my vein? Go ahead. That's fine. I do not want to have a standing flight. So the airline announced Friday that it will target ads to individual customers who decline to opt out. United spokesperson, and I use that liberally, Remy Milburn, confirmed to Nexstar, which is where this is sourced from by way of The Hill, that personalized ads are already being served to some United passengers on the airline's app and nearly 100,000 in-flight screens, with plans to expand over the next several months. You know what doesn't turn on whenever I'm taking a flight on United? That screen. I don't hear it. I don't see it. I don't use it. I don't need it. I load everything up on my iPad. You know what the next step is? They're going to charge you a $50 fee if you have an iPad or electronic device when you carry on.
Exactly. Well, they're already charging you for carry-on, or I mean, a lot of airlines, I don't know.
Like a bag, yeah.
But...
yeah. But now they're going to charge even more because you're not even paying attention to their bullshit. So the article is over at thehill.com. Jeremy Tanner is the author. What to know and how to opt out. Well, go to their website and opt out. That's fine. But they're not going to give a shit. I mean, what are you going to do? Report them for playing an ad on the screen on the back of the seat?
Exactly. How is that really going to work? I mean...
Oh, sorry, it
Or
was the
is it
wrong
only going
person.
to show up at some seats?
Yeah, according to the thing, you're supposed to opt out. United's connective media will use customer demographic information that includes their city of residence. So you're going to get doxed. So you're going to be sitting there, and the person in the aisle seat next to you is going to go, "Oh, you're from," because it's going to have,
Oh, right. Well, I was thinking of the Target pregnancy ads,
yeah, exactly. It's all of that.
like, or whatever.
Your city of residence, your flight information, your general age group to create quote unquote anonymized segments, which is complete bullshit. You can reverse engineer anonymized data, according to a news release. And with AI, even more powerful. Yeah, it's not going to be that hard. So how will it work? While browsing the catalog of the back seat facing you, the ads may not feel as random as they once did. For example, a customer who regularly flies between Chicago and Los Angeles might see an advertisement for an event in LA, according to Milburn. Importantly, connective media does not use categories of information like race and ethnic origin, disability, biometric data, and personal health information. I'm going to call, while it may not be categorized as such, it's going to be a tertiary adjunct to it. You're going to get stuff that is seemingly on target for race and ethnic origin. It may belie disability, but it's going to be generalized enough that it's going to still. It's kind of like a fortune teller cold reading you and saying, "Oh, you want to hear from your brother?" Yeah, there's a really good freaking chance that you've got a brother. And depending on your age, they could be alive or not, or whatever your mood, etc. But this is not that hard, particularly with data, to enumerate it in such a way that, yeah, it's really close. So,
I think when kids can pick up on the targeted nature of ads, like it's pretty obvious, right?
yeah, yeah. When the youngest humans are picking it out, then you know that they're doing a shit job of anonymizing the purpose of that ad. So customers who want to opt out of it can follow a website link, which oddly enough, it links to Qualtrics, which is an ad organization. So if you want to confirm that you are a warm target for ads and worth the money, then you follow that frickin' ad. I mean, forum. Oh, I got them all mixed up. Let's keep going. The next article is over in ohmTown Daily as well. The author of this article from Business Insider, I don't know who it is just yet, but anyway, they explored an Arizona ghost town with an abandoned dentist office, schoolhouse, and laundromat. The spot felt like stepping back in time, and I'm assuming that it's a Western, Old West ghost town, and that's the assumption I made in the title. But watch this be from 1980.
Well, the thing like the laundromat makes me think it's more current, but
Oh, thank God it's not. So yeah, Monica Humphreys over at Business Insider put this article together. Let me zoom in. Whoa. I zoomed in. Oh, quite a bit. So it says, I will never turn down a visit to a ghost town. This again is Monica Humphreys from Business Insider who put the article together. They have this picture here of what looks like an Old West mining town. There's like a sign above a blacksmith, and when you walk into a room, there is what looks like a dentist's office. That doesn't look far flung from what a modern dentist's office would look like, although one seat looks much more modern than the other seat. Maybe it's to show juxtaposition between the modernity of one and back in the day, when I was just a kid. It's not true. So they made a stop in the American West at the Gold King Mine and Ghost Town. Ghost Town is part of the mining town of Haines, Arizona, which I would not be surprised if I've gone to when I was younger. Because I used to travel that neck of the woods when I was younger and go to gold mining stuff. I used to love actually gold mining. Whether exploring an abandoned castle in the Australian jungle, which that one's an interesting one, or opening the door to an old miner's cabin in their home state of Colorado. The deserted destinations feel like traveling back in time, and that's usually because you are. There is a
Does
person
this
that,
remind you of buying a town like in Schitt's Creek?
yeah, yeah, that would be. There is somebody that actually bought an old mining town, and is trying to rehabilitate it into a tourist spot. And in the process of that, has found things like old jeans that are worth thousands upon thousands of dollars because the jeans still exist, like in a wearable, usable fashion. And I've found that really amazing. That jeans have been around since the old West, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like the original modern iterations of those jeans fall apart. But the old Western ones, those were like thick and heavy duty. And
But that's because they don't have preset holes in them.
yeah, that might be it. Yeah. Yeah. You
Okay,
know
that probably just contributes to it.
how they cut them up to make them trendy, right? So Jerome, Arizona's charming downtown, drew the author in, but the Gold King Mine in Ghost Town, a site with abandoned buildings, antiques, and automobiles, was what enticed them to stay. So it's a tourist spot, but with a lot of history, a lot of character. It looks exactly like the ones that I recall going to, except with more modern paint. Like it says entrance to the Ghost Town gift shop, painted above the Ghost Town gift shop. I don't remember ever having that experience, but yeah. It's dotted with old buildings. Some are original to the site. Others came from nearby towns and then just plopped there. But I love the idea of this because it shows how it was back in the day. Old cars, old machinery. Can you imagine going to a dentist back then?
No, that part is pretty terrifying.
Yeah. They knew that they knew they were getting close to the ghost town when they spotted dozens of abandoned vehicles. Yeah, that seems to be like part and parcel to abandoned towns, is vehicles just left there, strewn across the landscape.
Right, and they might not be in good shape, but that might be one of the neatest things of having the town.
Yep. That's interesting too. The sign looks like it's been antiqued by real time, but I wonder if it's been antiqued by modern techniques.
Right.
Because I mean,
Maybe
it
so.
says $12 for a ticket. If you act like a 5-year-old and under, then it's free. There's fun activities like gold panning, gem panning, cracking a geode for $10. You can do all three.
Yeah, that sounds very modern, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, the sign, let's say the sign started in 1982 and has been exposed to the weather. So, yeah, 40
That's
years
true.
worth of.
I guess that's not very modern, but
Wait. 1982 is modern, for crying out loud. That's 40 years ago. Get out. I'm gonna.
well, I mean, it's more modern than like Ghost Town era.
Where's that mute button? So a few paragraphs on Gold King Mine's past wasn't enough, so they tracked down Jay Harshman, the self-proclaimed Maine guy. Harshman told them that they grew up in the region, after a stint in the corporate world, returned to the central Arizona area, and has worked in the ghost town for the past 2 years. Look at that. Sometimes that's what you want to do. What the heck is that? Oh, a 3-cylinder generator that Harshman is working to get up and running again. That must be the exhaust. Yikes. So there's lots of pictures over here, and when I say lots, I've been talking for I've been talking for like 8 minutes, and I am a third of the way down the page.
Haven't run out of the pictures yet.
No, has these really cool black and white pictures that show some of the personalities. Your standard cowboys with the big bushy mustache, and the Those eyes that say, I once killed a man in Arizona just to watch him die. Then again,
hopefully the town doesn't come with that.
yeah. Furnished rooms from Ms. Boyd, or Mrs. Boyd, pardon me, Mrs. Boyd. Look at that. Everybody was an entrepreneur back then, you know? Right on. Well, okay, I'm going to just move on to the next article because this one is really weird. Next article's over in the Marble Channel. New Veggie Piranha-like species named after Tolkien villain. A new vegetarian piranha-like species discovered by scientists in the Brazilian Amazon has been named Sauron after the Lord of the Rings villain, Britain's Natural History Museum said on Tuesday.
I don't know what happened in the news today, but there have been some real odd articles today.
I'm kind of struggling because what the hell is a veggie piranha-like species?
Does it go after veggies ferociously?
Miloplus sauron is a 132.8 millimeter long fish, apparently. A new vegetarian piranha-like species discovered by... So, like, if you throw a carrot in, it's going to attack it voraciously?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll take it. That's fine with me. Go for it. The new species, one of two recently named by scientists as part of an effort to better understand fish biodiversity in the Amazon River, has human-like teeth to suit its plant-based diet. Oh, please show me the teeth. I want to see it smiling.
Yeah.
So
like it'll be like a cartoon smile from like Finding Nemo with the sharks or something.
Like a Pixar fish.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, post the dentist visit in There's Something About Mary, where she says that she really likes a guy with a really big set of chompers. That's what the teeth are inside this little fish mouth, like these big old chunky teeth. That would be hilarious. So the study published in the journal Neotropical Ichthyology on Monday sought to shed light on the Amazonian piranhas and their relatives, which are renowned for being difficult to tell apart as they change appearance throughout their lifetime. What I really don't want to do...
That's a very niche journal.
Neotropical Ichthyology? Yeah.
Right. I prefer original tropical ichthyology or whatever.
Yeah, really. Oh, yeah. The real Tropical Ichthyology is the competing magazine. And you find out that it's by the two cousins. One didn't like the content 1 month, and so they went their own route. And now they are vying for... They're pilfering each other's writers and researchers and stuff like that. Yeah. What's the obverse of neotropical? Neo-Saharan.
Old Arctic?
There you go. Yeah.
Or whatever, something like that.
Archaic Arctic ichthyology.
There you go.
Just
that's better
fish.
alliteration. Yeah.
A bunch of fish from the freezer. As soon as my colleagues suggested...
They don't have a picture of the teeth.
They don't. Yeah, that's a real bummer, and I'm going to have to go looking for them now. It says it looks just like the Eye of Sauron, especially with the red fins and orange patches.
I really want to see it.
As soon as my colleagues suggested the name for this fish, we knew it was perfect. It doesn't... Oh. Okay, so I really don't like that Phys.org does this, but when you mouse over the picture, it does this fog of war, but if you click on it, then you don't have the fog of war, but that's what they're talking about right there. So this whole thing looks like the Eye of Sauron, except that this doesn't look red enough, but I'll give them some leeway. Maybe it's just a crappy picture, but yeah, it's because Sauron had that little cat eye kind of a look to it.
Right, okay. But we still don't see the fish. I mean, the teeth. Not the fish.
Yeah.
The teeth. Yes,
I want to see it smiling. Okay, Pixar, you know what to do.
I have it.
So you've seen it? Okay. Well, I can't do it through this. So.
No,
You're air
but you
gap,
can glance at it and remark.
Oh boy. Okay. Hold on a second, everybody. We've got a few more minutes to play cat. Oh my god.
Isn't that worth sending?
Oh, that's hilarious.
That's a riot. That actually came, oddly enough, from another of
Wow.
our sources, but from outside of ohmTown. It came from RTE.
Oh, really? Okay. So, yeah, RTE is from Ireland and
Hmm.
has some great articles from time to time, actually, quite a bit. But this picture is basically like a choir of these fish with their mouth open, and they all have. They don't look like human teeth at all. They're more
No,
canine.
but they have noticeable teeth, and the
Yeah,
picture is epic.
yeah. It's like they're all singing a high note. Oh, anyway. Hilarious. I don't know. Maybe we can post that in the Discord or something. We'll have to talk about it. Okay. Because we don't do much in the Discord, but anyway.
That might need to go there, though.
Yeah, for sure. So let's go on. The next article is over in ohmTown Daily. There's water frost on top of volcanoes on Mars. So now your potatoes from Mars can be watered directly. You won't have to pee on them or purify your pee. So yeah, your potatoes and peas take on a whole new meaning. But anyway, the volcanoes are not only the tallest volcanic mountains on the red planet, but the entire solar system. The discovery marks the first time that frost has been spotted near the planet's equator, challenging existing perceptions of the planet's climate dynamics, according to a study in Nature Geoscience. Quote, we thought it was improbable for frost to form around Mars's equator, as the mix of sunshine and thin atmosphere keeps temperatures during the day relatively high at both the surface and mountaintop, unlike what we see on Earth that gets protected by various strata of atmosphere. So as it thins, that's where snow and ice can form and stay perpetually. And anyway, unlike what we see on Earth, where you might expect to see it frosty at the peaks. So when you follow the link, you get taken over to Futurity, and Juan Salazar from, I think, Brown University is the source. Let me zoom in a little bit.
This is a really big deal, isn't it? I mean, that's a lot of water, and where is it coming from?
Yeah. I mean, it's an observation in the equator, and that's the really big thing, because they've apparently detected water, liquid water and water ice on Mars previously because of the rovers. So the researchers calculate the frost constitutes at least 150,000 tons of water that swaps between the surface and atmosphere each day during the cold seasons. That's roughly 60 Olympic-sized swimming pools, which in the grand scheme of Earth isn't much, but it's a ton when you're talking about something that's devoid of an atmosphere.
Exactly.
It has what amounts to some type of climate cycle. So the frost sits at the calderas of the volcanoes, which are large hollows at their summits, created during past eruptions. The researchers propose the way the air circulates above these mountains creates a unique microclimate that allows the thin patches of frost to form. The researchers believe modeling how the frost form could allow scientists to reveal more of Mars's remaining secrets, including understanding where water exists and how it moves, as well as understanding the planet's complex atmospheric dynamics, which is essential for future exploration and the search for possible signs of life. But if you've ever seen Total Recall, you know that all you have to do is find the underground tunnels that lead to the atmosphere generator and then be an alien. Anyway,
Uh-oh.
yeah, it's a documentary, just like a Demolition Man is a documentary about the fast food wars.
Right, Taco Bell, here we come.
Taco Bell wins the fast food wars. I have to look at when the year was for that. Anyway, Valentina started analyzing the images in 2018. The majority of work was completed while earning their PhD abroad, but a portion of the reanalysis was completed while at Brown, so that's where the source of the article is.
Demolition Man, 1993.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's all about the right time. Sure. It's when we discovered that, aliens are all over the place. I got nothing. Let's go on to our last article for today. It's over in Technology Today. You can't mirror your phone while mirroring your Mac on an Apple Vision Pro. So I titled this one, "You Can't Turducken Your Apple Devices." The only reason why I chose this is because WWDC was yesterday, and there was a lot of talk about all of this. Sharing of screens and accessing it remotely and all of that kind of stuff. But to sit there and kind of pump up Apple Vision Pro, which I think is this ultra niche device that's too big and bulky for general adoption, and then to try and find a problem with whatever the service is, it's just kind of silly to me, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. You can't mirror your iPhone while you're mirroring your Mac on your Apple Vision Pro.
I mean, I don't know. That's kind of a ridiculous problem to have, right?
Right. You've got a $3,000 headset on your head connecting to your, let's say, $1,500 Mac, and I'm assuming that this is a laptop. If it's a PC, then it's a $3,000 Mac desktop. And then you've got your $1,500 iPhone being mirrored onto your Mac. They say it's not possible. I say it's nothing more than a software patch away from being facilitated. But you're talking about $9,000, upwards of $9,000 worth of equipment sitting here so that you could have your phone mirrored on your Mac on your Vision Pro. Yeah. It's an odd flex to write about, but the article is actually over at Engadget, and Devendra Hardawar is the author. Whoa, I zoomed in really far. Anyway, the deck statement says, "Just let me use my iPhone on your headset, Apple." And I'm sure that that's going to be the next thing, right? It's just going to be a patch away, but the usability is that you want to be able to use your iPhone on your Mac. So it is a MacBook here. So with the next iteration of the operating system, Sequoia, you'll be able to use your iPhone remotely on your Mac and use your Mac as the streaming device, like the music, receive phone calls, all of the kind of stuff that you would normally with your phone. You can do it through your phone on your Mac. But you can't do it.
I suppose that's a good thing.
But you can't do it if you have your $3,000 Vision Pros on your head, because it will only do your desktop, not your phone. Which is actually kind of a bummer, because if I'm in my Vision Pro, I don't want to have to take them off to answer a phone call. So, I don't know. Hey, Apple, send me...
Right, one of each, right? So you can do a proper experiment.
Correct. Yeah. And then lose the invoice, because I will probably not want to send them back. But I also don't want to spend $10,000 on Apple equipment just to test it out. So anyway, they say, I wondered if they could mirror a Mac that was mirroring an iPhone in the Vision Pro. It seemed like an ideal workaround in theory, one that would solve the headset's annoying inability to play nicely with your iPhone, but unfortunately it won't work. I suspect that at first blush it would be a bandwidth issue, but when you think about it, the iPhone is basically a MacBook Pro with a small screen, and the Apple Vision Pro is a MacBook Pro that's strapped to your head. So why isn't there enough bandwidth to make this possible? And I suspect at the end of that thought process, the only thing that's keeping it from happening is turning it on in the operating system. Yeah, it's a patch away from being functionally operational. So it says here are a few other tidbits that they learned about iPhone mirroring on macOS Sequoia while exploring WWDC, which is still underway. The keynote was yesterday. It requires both Wi-Fi and Bluetooth to work, and the phone is projected at 60 frames per second. When you launch a game, the iPhone window flips into landscape view on your Mac, and the game's sound also appears to be synchronized as well. Awesome. Mirroring will use around the same amount of battery, which that seems, I guess it depends on the frames. This, but again, the silicon that they're using, I mean, it is amazing the new chips that they use. Like an iPad has an M4 in it. That's a. Go ahead.
I just don't see that it's going to use the same amount of battery life, but.
Yeah, because it's like constantly on when you're not
exactly,
using it.
And every time you do something, you're eating into that.
Yeah. I think that's kind of fantasy talk here. If you unlock your iPhone directly, the mirrored window closes immediately on your Mac. That's interesting. You'll eventually.
That could be a problem.
Yeah, well, I mean, does it really disconnects it? So for it to, once you sync it, it locks the phone so that nobody can mess with it remotely, I guess. Or you can't do something on both and affect the two. Eventually, you're going to be able to drag and drop files between the iPhone and the Mac screen, which is really spectacular. You can do some of it now. You can airdrop stuff, and you can copy and paste things from one screen to another in the Apple ecosystem under your login. Your login unifies all of your devices. So if I copy something from my MacBook Air, I can paste it to my desktop, like a Mac Mini or the iPad or the iPhone. I've never tried anything on the watch, but at least not file transfers like that. So I'm sure that this is all going to be the usability, I think, is great between multiple devices with your login. It's amazing how friction free the Apple ecosystem is. But then they push it, and now you're going to be able to open up remote access directly to your device, built into the operating system.
It's just terrifying, isn't it?
Well, it flies in the face of a previous commitment to not facilitate something that law enforcement, the federal government, actually wanted, which was direct backdoor access to the operating system. And Apple had brushed up against it, saying, no, it's never going to happen. It's not going to happen. But right now, the new operating systems that are coming out to the devices are going to facilitate remote access. Now they say it's end-to-end encrypted and all of that kind of stuff, but it's a 0-day exploit away from being abused. Or somebody has to find out that there is a backdoor already embedded in this because this facilitates remote access. So it has to be there. It's just protected.
I mean, doesn't this seem like it's going to be a draw to try to hack into this?
Yes. Yeah,
without a doubt. Apple has the reputation of not being able to be hacked. I know it can be. But...
No, the bounties are already out there. There have been like $1 million or $2 million bounties for remote access exploits into the operating system that can get in, particularly to iPhones, because they're so secure that criminal access, I should say law enforcement access into criminal devices is like top priority. And law enforcement uses a really expensive piece of software to gain access to iPhones now, and it doesn't work reliably. So it's a real cluster, and I don't like another pinhole in the operating system. It's one of the reasons why I personally don't embrace Android, because it has the ability for greater customization and side loading and other manipulations that are much easier to deploy than on an iPhone. Plain and simple, it just is. And well, anyway, without getting too into it, I don't like that, but I like the idea that I can share all of my stuff with my infrastructure seamlessly. But that's it, folks. That is all 10 of our articles for ohmTown Daily News Show So, like always, we are going to drag and drop our butts straight from the last article to the front page, where we get to hear about Major Power Rangers reboot now has to be rebooted. Yeah, I think that's always going to have to happen. Like, the Power Rangers need to do like a transfer of power from one ranger to another ranger, and there needs to be continuity of that rangerhood, you know.
Okay.
But because they're where was it that we were talking about it, that there's a whole new Power Rangers reboot. It was in the continuity report
It must have been a
this
continuity
weekend.
report, yeah.
Yeah. So if you're interested in all of that kind of stuff, you can download the podcast that's out there right now. If you go to Apple Podcasts and do a search for ohmTown, it is a network of 7 shows, starting with ohmTown Daily News Show. And there's 6 others that are weekend shows that are They are weekly shows on the weekend. Let's see if I can say week a couple more times.
Week.
So at any rate, ohmTown Daily News Show is at 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, and then 5 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. And then after ohmTown Daily News Show, we have 3 additional shows each day. Yeah, and that's it. So be sure to follow us here on twitch.tv and follow us over here on YouTube. Just do a search for ohmTown and you'll find us. That said, we have a Discord, we have got a Patreon, we've got a TikTok, where else? I don't know. We're all over the place.
Podcast, I think you said that.
Yeah, the podcast. Yeah, we do that. And that's growing leaps and bounds. So I hope that people are enjoying their stay. If you leave a 5-star review on the podcast, I will say whatever it is verbatim. As long as it isn't, harmful or threatening.
Ist
In some way, yeah. Anyway, that is it for today. I am Mayor Watt, and right there, oh look, I can actually catch a neuron, right?
Oh, look.
There. Doggone it, you did it again. Let's see if I can.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God. Anyway, thanks a lot, everybody. We'll see you later. You want to say bye?
Good night, ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow at about 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah. I have some mayoral duties that I need to attend to. I don't know how long that will take. But one way or another, if it has to be a time machine episode the following day, then so be it. But yeah, my commitment is 9 hours. So I don't know if I'll be able to. I might be exhausted. Okay. See y'all later. Bye-bye. What are mayoral duties? Anyway, see you later, everybody.